So remember we talked about enthusiasm yesterday. Enthusiasm is not fake usually. If you're not used to it, you may have to generate it for some time. But having said that, after some time, you realize that enthusiasm is very natural in you. It's actually very natural. You kill it over a period of time because you think it's sort of against maturity of growing up. But it's very natural for a human being to be enthusiastic, no matter what the age. People are enthusiastic in different ways, by the way, not just only one. There are multiple ways of being enthusiastic. Each person has their own way, of course, but it shows up in some way or the other, right? Uh, so I was saying yesterday, just continuing a little bit more about today, that as you become more and more enthusiastic about seeing your progress, your changes, your growth, and yes, it basically makes sort of it brings in greater power into your practice and a greater force of life into activities which you do, which I think is absolutely fantastic, considering the fact that life doesn't become easier always. So this really helps, or activities like this really help. Personally, yeah, they really do really help. By the way, all right. During inner reflection, please make sure that you enforce enthusiasm in the beginning stages because not everyone is enthusiastic when they find, oh yeah, I did this good, but you know what, I did this good, very good. That is very vital to start building good self-image and not just acknowledging. See, we just acknowledge the vices because we need to be aware of them. But we need to acknowledge and marginally to borderline celebrate the good things we do because that gives us more motivation to do it. And the more the good self-image starts to get built up, you will almost take almost all criticism properly. I'm again going to repeat it. If your self-image is very poor, any criticism done towards you will hit like a bullet, even if it's standard corrective procedures. Not everybody will speak to you in a nice way, right? But your self-image will decide how are you taking it. If self-esteem is good, strong, enthusiastic, powerful, you will take the needle from the haystack and remaining, just brush it aside, okay? Not every time, but most of the times. And that is an example of a good self-image. That is exactly what all of us need to build, where you can handle criticism, pressures, all of these things with a smile wouldn't affect you much. All right, makes sense. So let's go forward. Invocation. To the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, thank you for your priceless blessings, for your divine light, divine love, divine power, divine healing, guidance, mercy, help, and protection. Thank you. To our great spiritual teacher, to all the great spiritual teachers, to all the great gods and goddesses, to all the great ones, we incredibly humbly thank you for your great blessings. We thank you so much. Be aware of the heart and the crown chakra. You say, verbalize, please say, Lord God, thank you for filling my heart chakra and my crown chakra with substance of love. Lord God, thank you for filling my heart chakra and my crown chakra with substance of love. Lord God, thank you for filling my heart and my crown chakra with tremendous substance of love. Here's a good thought for all of you to have. Why do we only invoke these two chakras and no other chakra? in the process, of course. Something to think about, by the way. All right, let's go forward. Be aware of the crown. Your crown is a very powerful thousand petal lotus with qualities which are innumerable. It's almost like saying that to express a specific power, you need that many number of petals, right? Soul is very, 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 very advanced in terms of what it can and cannot do. It needs approximately 1,000 petals to register almost all of the qualities of soul. That is whatever is registrable in the lower planes. The soul is, and in some cases, the divine spark has qualities which the lower body's mind, brain can't completely register because it doesn't have as many number of petals after a while. That's why you need a higher consciousness to register everything. Be aware of the crowd. Mentally or verbally speak along. I am not the body. I am not the emotions or the thoughts. I am not the emotions. I am not the thoughts. Emotions and thoughts are created by the astral body and the mental body. I create them, but I am not them. I am not the emotions. I am not the thoughts. I am not the mind. I am not the mind. I am the soul. I am the soul. I, the soul, am connected and one with my higher soul. I, the soul, am connected and one with my divine spark. I am connected and one with God. All right. Today, we will not do the standard procedure that we usually do. We will instead try to focus on forgiving one particular person from our life. So here's my understanding. I'm going to share something with you. According to somebody else can very recently, there is a person who criticizes, say, person A criticizes person B, like an employer or manager criticizing, say, an employee, right? And what happens is that if the person B who's taking the criticism doesn't have a good self-image, what happens is that you or this person will tend to mentally criticize a lot and being super frustrated, always taking the blame, and you know how bad things get right eventually, how messy things actually get, and only suppression, 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 and no way to out. The problem with this thing is that it creates more and more negative karma from this side. If the total karma of say 100 units that exist, but 90 to 95% will be from this person's side, which means karmic overload at this person is too high. This person just maybe doing a job, but having a very critical mindset, not being personal, does its work, right? Whatever little bit of karma comes. This person's intentionally criticizing over and over again, retaliating over and over again, will generate tremendous amount of karma over a period of time. Just plain forgiveness without understanding the proper lesson will not work here. If you keep rejecting love, 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 but in the meditation, but afterwards you criticize, you chop the person down, that's not all right. That is not going to work. What happens in such cases, you have to actually spend some time identifying the lesson. The lesson is simply put words this. You have to be brutally self-honest in terms, very simple. Ki, the other person's criticism is a trigger to bring out whatever is inside of you. If in your place a very mature person would be there, he would not react the way you're reacting. It's impossible actually. Why? Because he or she, the matured person, has mastered lessons of love and understanding. You will understand by this reference where do you need to work. And this is not so simple as I'm telling you when you start doing it. Answers aren't there. You have to figure the answers out. That is why it's called life lessons. You have to actually learn them. by exposing yourself to those situations. It's not so simple. Now, a simple way, or rather a more common approach to take in this is pretty sim goes something like this. So there is the person who criticizes or who puts you down, for example. Then there is you who uh, takes it because you're on the receiving end, for example, right? And the problem is you start to build violence inside of you, mental violence, verbal violence. You start to use all sorts of F words. But it feels very frustrating because you can't take it out on the other person. You can't. It could be a parent, it could be your spouse, it could be your child. Child may be too young to hear anything, but creating a mess of things actually, right? Considering all of this, you would eventually realize that there is a trigger and then there is a exposure of whatever's inside of you. This person acts as a trigger only. This person doesn't bring anything new. He just exposes whatever's inside of you. Yeah, this is a very simple approach to understand this. If you have garbage inside of you, it will only spew out more and more and more and more and more and more. So you shouldn't. There's no way blaming the other person for why are you behaving like this. That is not even in the right sense. You should be saying, okay, I understand this. I'm going to work on myself. You understand this? Now, let's try and understand this aspect and let's work on ourselves quickly. Imagine a great sun in front of you. Big sun. Be aware of the heart and the crown chakra, and you will verbalize thoroughly along with me, okay? Say to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, thank you for completely extracting out all energy of low self image, fear and insecurities, anger and frustration from my entire system. And please sacrifice this to the great Sun God. Thank you. Imagine that leaving your system, the dark smoke, and getting burnt by the great sun. Again, to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother. Thank you for completely extracting out all the energies of low self-esteem, poor self-image, fear and insecurities. Feel them leaving. Fear and insecurities, and anger and frustrations from my entire system. Please sacrifice it to the great Sun God. Thank you. Again, to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, thank you for completely extracting out all the energy of fear, so all the energy of poor self-esteem, low self-image, all the energy of insecurities and fears, and all the energies of anger and frustrations from my entire system, all of my chakras, and please sacrifice it to the great Sun God. Thank you. Now, just open your eyes. You will do this maybe about 20 to 21 times when you're very, very frustrated. When things aren't working out, you're feeling like heavily targeted or very, very emotionally upset because something has happened and you felt like the low self-esteem just popped out. A lot of times, these five things, poor self-esteem or low self-image, um, your anger, your frustrations, and your fear and insecurities. Something gets triggered, that is fear and insecurity. Poor self-esteem is like the encasing. which get touched from all angles, and your and anger and frustrations are the depicting characteristics, right? So you will remove these thoroughly from your system, and then comes a point when it's about learning or identifying a lesson. So one of the major lessons eventually is criticism or whatever you undergo in an experience from the person A, is just a trigger, which means, for example, you again go in front of the person, removing the garbage out. If you still get triggered, you come back, you do the exact same thing. You don't get triggered, that's good. That's very, very good. But this another step to the process. Next step to the process is you have to learn to project love and energy of forgiveness. This is much better done once system is clean, which is why we purify a lot before we do forgiveness. If you start doing forgiveness, if you're upset and angry, and if you're not purified, it's not going to, in fact, it's going to bomb back because you're not ready to forgive. You see, forgiveness will work much, much better if you know that there's a need of forgiveness from your side to feel better. You project love to cancel the karma. You project forgiveness to cancel the karma between two people, right? But that releases you, not necessarily other person will change, right? Do you understand this? Let's go forward now. Imagine the same person. Be aware of the heart and the crown chakra. I'm making this practice use so many times this you really understand that how the whole thing works and not get confused in the process. Okay, so you purified now properly. You've removed poor self-esteem, which usually get basic triggers. सबका यही होता है. And in any situation, you have what you have anger and frustration as symptoms, and you have fear and insecurities which are being touched upon via the low self-image. Okay, we removed all this. Now we will bless. Imagine that person in front of you. Project tremendous amount of love. Say, Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, please make me a very humble instrument of all of your energies. Project love. Keep projecting love and ask the person to absorb it. This is very, very important. And then project the energy of forgiveness. Be aware of the heart and the crown, the whole process. Tremendous energy of forgiveness. All right. Now simply say, I forgive you. There is no, I don't forgive you. How can I do nothing? I forgive you. You forgive for your own peace of mind. You don't forgive for anything else. You forgive because you understand that people are like this. Human beings are still growing. They are like this. They will continue to hurt. There's nothing much that you can do. Seeing justice served to the person may not really bring you peace. May or may not. Say, I completely forgive you. I let go of you. I let go of you. I let go of you. Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for forgiving me. I've also made several mistakes, just as you have. Both of us deserve forgiveness. Thank you for forgiving me, and I forgive you completely. So be it. Now, this is almost a complete process, okay? First, you practice soul affirmation to connect yourself to the spiritual sources. Second, you cleanse and purify properly, especially these 4 or 5 things that I've talked to you about. If there is more, add more to the list also, okay? Third, and you do multiple times. If you're emotionally upset, do multiple times. Next is you um, do proper forgiveness. Proper forgiveness का मतलब tremendous amount of energy and cancellation of karma. This is a very powerful process if done properly. Can really improve state of affairs in your life if you do it properly and regularly also. I do it properly, which is why I have tremendous confidence in the process. It's a remarkable process if you do it properly. There is almost no question of its efficacy in work. The only question is intensity of the amount of effort you put, and that's that. That's pretty much the deciding factor among all this. So I hope you get some understanding from this and you will follow it properly also in your own life. Yeah. Closing invocation to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, thank you for your great blessings. Thank you so much to our great spiritual teacher, to all the great spiritual teachers, to all the great gods and goddesses, to all the great ones. We very humbly thank you for your great blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Atma Namaste. Take care. See you tomorrow. And God bless all of you. Have a great full moon. If you want, you can also try and do your full moon meditation at the time of the full moon, which means start about meditation to enhance. You can start about 15 minutes back before the exact time. And when so Om is being chanted, you're exactly at the full moon time. So that'll be super powerful. Yeah. Don't get too emotional today. It's not a good idea to be very emotional on days of, well, full moon days. It can blow out of proportion. So, shall we take care? See you. Bye bye. Happy